At it again, baby, and we got another one with the brother Thomas Sowell. Let's dive in. Problem with
the
white
wealth
people.
gap, worse now. Home ownership, the wealth gap, worse.
Median household net worth, black 14. Holy shit. That can't be right. It says U.S. Census 2019 data. Can somebody fact check this? That has to be skewed in some kind of way. 14 to basically 190,000. Nah, that doesn't even look believable. But somebody fact check that for me, please. Let me know if that is correct.
Now, home ownership, worse.
42, white and black home ownership, 2000. Oh, so it's dropped since 2000 to 2019, 47 to 42.
Now, segregation, worse now. On average, a white high school graduate is wealthier than a black college graduate. Forget about them telling you even the stark facts don't seem to matter.
Although differences in choices and performances are ignored or dismissed in politically correct quarters, such differences obviously affect differences in outcomes. And you then, in the Thomas Sowell Reader, compare the different economic records. This is fascinating, but I mean, there's a lot fascinating in here, but this struck me especially. You'd compare the difference in economic performance, not between whites and blacks in this country, but between whites and whites in Europe.
Yes.
Tell us about the difference between Danes and Greeks.
Oh, well, if you look at Eastern Europe and Western Europe, the economic differences between Eastern Europeans and Western Europeans is greater than that between blacks and whites in America. And people ask, why is there such a gap here? Why is there such a gap there? I say, well, ever since the Civil Rights Act, why hasn't that gap closed completely? I say, look at Eastern and Western Europe. They've been on the same Europeans. They've been on the same continent for centuries, and the gap hasn't closed. So, gaps don't close that fast.
So we need to be, the underlying message here is...
Is that true? The gap between Eastern and Western Europe? For my family that may live over in Europe, let me know in the comment section, please.
Be realistic about what actually causes growth. Be realistic about the durability of culture, even of economic culture, work habits. And,
oh, yes.
All right.
The problem with white people, for however sincerely we want to reckon and listen, the truth is America has always prioritized white comfort over black survival. Black people have had to fight so hard for equality that they've been irreparably set back in the pursuit of equity. And any real attempt to repair a ton of
Spit it out.
that damage, reparation.
It's amazing. Whenever you look for facts,
It's back to the reparation talk. I just personally think we a little too late for reparations. If we were going to do reparations, we should have given it to the people who were slaves right after they were freed. They should have gotten, a lump sum amount of money, and that was it. And if statistics that I've heard have been correct, we were on the path as far as like the black community to prosperity at a faster rate than the white family, according to some things that, we've seen and heard in some videos. You guys can correct me if those statistics are wrong. And the welfare state kind of derailed that, giving incentives to become lazy, so to speak. But y'all can let me know in the comment section how you feel about it, please.
when you do research, or either about people or about nature, you find skewed distributions everywhere. But when you listen to people talk, especially in the academic world, the underlying assumption is that the people are all have the same capability, and that therefore any differences in their outcomes must be to other people in some way doing them wrong. It's amazing, because if you think just of an individual, I mean, the same man does not have the same capability. He's not even equal to himself at different stages of life, much less being equal to all the other people at all their highly varying stages of their lives. When you think of how many factors there are at work, it's incredible.
I'm sure that study at the beginning wasn't comparing apples to apples. It was comparing apples to oranges. And it just took like a blanket across the board, every single white person, and every single black person. And it wasn't taking, white and black people that got a 4-year degree, that don't have a family, and it was just a blanket thing, so it kind of skewed the numbers a bit. I think when you can let me know in the comment section. I think if you were to compare apples to apples, like true side-by-side comparisons where things are basically the same, the only real difference is the color of, you know, each individual skin, I think that number would be a little bit closer or the exact same. Let me know in the comment section. I don't know for a fact. That's just an assumption. If anybody has any research done on that or any studies, let me know in the comment section, please.
People to think that they're going to work out the same for almost any group defined any way.
Got it.
The other thing, it's so frustrating. I can come up with umpteen different examples of this disparities in various situations, including situations where it is not possible for it to be either discrimination or genetics. People on the other side cannot give you one example. You can read reams of paper by advocates of social justice and not find one example anywhere in the world. There are people who've done international studies. Braudel, I quote, the French historian. He said, in no society has all parts of the population had the same outcomes.
I'm sorry to say, I think just white people talking about this endlessly is not going to help actual Black Americans who would deal with it. I have certain ideas about that. I think we need to focus intensely on young education.
One of the classic examples to me of few things that are going very well in the ghettos across the country, and that's some of the charter schools that have come in where the public schools, the kids are just wiped out. I mean, the kids in those ghetto schools often are 2 or 3 years behind the national norms and all kinds of stuff. But in some of these ghetto schools, especially those run by the KIPP organization or by the Success
These charter
Academy,
schools.
I'm sorry, yeah, charter schools in the ghetto.
Right.
Their kids are scoring at levels equal to, and in some cases better than, that in affluent suburbs where the kids come from families making $200,000 a year. And you would think, my God, this is something that ought to get a lot of attention. The welfare state supporters are fighting against charter schools. The NAACP is fighting against charter schools. The teachers' unions give a lot of money to politicians. They give money to the NAACP. I think it's the most cynical thing you can find in American politics are those people who are making themselves big champions of blacks, and yet who are fighting against it. The one school, kind of schools that are offering a way out of poverty for millions of black kids.
I think education's
Is that true? Let me know.
crucial. I think figuring out a way to help Black kids have a stable.
If that is a true statistic or statement that charter schools are doing that well, and then you have these organizations that are trying to tear them down even though they're doing well, like, that needs to be put out there more. I had no clue about it. I don't even know what a charter school is, to be completely honest. But if they're doing well, why are we trying to tear them down? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. That sounds a bit fishy.
Family. The truth is,
yes,
it's true. If we have a two-parent married home, you're going to say something to you, Andrew. You really are. The data is that 30% of African Americans don't have this. It's the biggest factor in getting people into college and succeeding in life. And if you ignore it, we're going to let these Black kids down.
I feel like your defensiveness and the tropes that you use about the Black family being the cause of entrenched poverty in that community ignores why those families are broken up in the first place, and that's mass incarceration, and that's the way that we viewed the crack epidemic.
As of 1960, I just find this one heartbreaking. As of 1960, 2/3 of all Black American children were living with both parents. That declined over the years until only 1/3 were living with both parents in 1995. Among Black families in poverty, 85% of the children had no father present.
I think that's a really telling statistic if that statistic is true. Among Black families living in poverty, 85% of them, no father, no dad at home. 85%. I feel like that's a staggering number. In the 1960s, 2/3, 66%. and that dropped to 33. That's a huge. And obviously we've heard Thomas Sowell speak about that previously with the welfare state and that sort of thing. But you guys can let me know how you feel about that, why you think that has dropped, and if you think it truly correlates with the 85%, or do you think there's something else causing the poverty situation? Let me know.
It's the legacy of the welfare state.
And by the way, we see illegitimacy rates rising among everybody.
Yeah, and in other countries.
And
you know, the very same thing in England.
And what's the mechanism? Why does the welfare state dissolve the family structure?
For one thing, it makes it unnecessary for fathers to support their offspring. And in fact, it makes it counterproductive in many cases. A very poor man who might be able to support his family realizes his family will be better off without him. But on the other hand, someone who's strictly irresponsible, either the man or the woman or both, now pays no price for being irresponsible. The taxpayers pay the price. And actually the harm done to the taxpayers, which is serious, still is not comparable to the harm done to the families, especially the children.
To the kids.
Yeah. Who incidentally, when they want to help black people, they want to help those black people who are doing something wrong. That is, rioters, ex-convicts. They want to stop the schools from disciplining black kids, males who misbehave in school. I don't hear them concerning themselves about the blacks who are the victims of the people who are doing wrong.
You don't hear them talking about the black people who are the victims of the black people doing wrong. So very, very interesting discussion there. Like I said, I think that first study with the median household income, I think there were some things that were left out, or maybe that was just like a blanket thing where it was just taking like all white people and all black people, and it wasn't like taking into account, the different dynamics of situations, and they weren't comparing apples to apples. It was like an apples to oranges kind of situation. It was two totally different situations, so those numbers were a bit skewed, but I could be totally wrong. You guys can let me know in the comment section. And one of you guys had mentioned that the welfare system should be a temporary system. And I personally kind of agree with that. And I said that in a previous video, and I saw a lot of you guys agreed with that. It should not be something that you just get and you just can sit on for however long. It should be, 90 days and we're getting you off of here. I think there needs to be a total overhaul on the welfare system, and maybe even beefing it up a bit. So, and what I mean by that is, you give people a time limit, but you also have a program where you can train some individuals in some trades or something. You may train someone to be a plumber, and hey, plumbers make some good money. Trust me, I know. I had to pay one not too long ago, and yeah, he killed my pocket. Sheesh Louise. Guy was here for just a couple hours. I mean, god damn. But maybe there should be a program where, hey, if you're on the welfare system, you need to find a job where you're working 40 plus hours a week, or you need to enroll in our trades program and you learn a trade and you get a job right after your training in the trades is done, and we get you off this welfare system. It shouldn't be we'll just hold your hand for the rest of your life kind of situation. And I don't know the ins and outs of the welfare system. You guys can let me know. Maybe I have the wrong idea of what it is and how it actually works. But like I said before, I've seen some BS. Like I said before, one example, people selling their food stamps. Like, this is wild to me. How do you have that many food stamps that you're able to go out and hustle them? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, but y'all can let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. Maybe I'm wrong about all this. Talk to me. As always, I do read through the comment section. You guys know that. So I appreciate every single one of you guys that comments and lets me know where I was wrong, where I was right, and how you feel about it. All right. Peace and love. I'm out.